Hi, this is Maria Huntoon of Maria G. Huntoon Canine Consulting Services. The video you just saw was of my Corgi Scout and I working in downtown Savannah. It was a busy afternoon earlier this week. Usually when I take him into downtown, we stick to a little bit slower times, like in the mornings. Sometimes the afternoons are a bit busier, but sometimes we do afternoons just like we did in this video. You'll see that I'm using a longer leash with him, or a long line. I do this so that he can have the space that he needs to move around to process the situation. I'm still in full control of the amount of leash that I feed out to him as I find is appropriate for the situation. However, it makes sure that he's not feeling micromanaged by having a leash that's too short and too tight, and then that adds to his arousal and his stress level. I do give him some time to process as well, so there are several moments through that video where I just pause and wait for him to finish doing what he needs to rectify in his head and realize, oh, yep, I'm still here, I'm in this moment, there's my mom, and then I can reward him for that. I do have to give him a little bit more help in situations like this. You saw a couple times in the video where I would ask him to heel and he would halfway do it, or I would have to ask him more than once or give him a more clear hand signal in order to get him to be successful completing that behavior. So I also as I work with him in these high intensity situations, it's a lot of juggling to read each piece of the scenario as it comes and pull out whichever tool in my toolbox to be able to help him be successful in that scenario. There was also the part where we were right down by the river and he wanted to go and lean over the edge to check out the water. That is something that sometimes causes him a little bit of excitement. He likes the water, but down there with the way that it's moving back and forth, it can be a little stressful for him, sometimes especially if there's some boats in the water and the water's rocking a little more than usual. Also, when there was the part that the dog was passing by, Scout is usually pretty good with other dogs, but sometimes in high stress situations he can get a little reactive, which means that he'll start barking. He might start heading in that direction and lunging towards them if that other dog is also very aroused back. They'll feed that energy off of one another. So in those cases, I do have to give him a higher rate of reinforcement in order to help him succeed, but then he can be totally fine with that dog passing by, even at close range, and he won't have any concerns, but I do have to make sure to support him more through that process. If I did not, then his anxiety about being in the high stress situation, in addition to the extra layer of having a dog so close that he doesn't know, that is especially bigger than him, could cause him to be more reactive than he was in this video. So really slowing things down, being clear and patient with him is what I have to do to help him succeed. And I do teach many of my clients whose dogs have high arousal levels to do the same thing, to be able to go into town. You know, a lot of them have goals that they want to bring their dog into town and sit at a cafe with them or have an afternoon out and about. So I do work with them often to help them meet their dog where he's at in order to give the dog what the dog needs to be successful there and still make it seem like a fun outing for the handler, where they are also not under a lot of stress because they're afraid of how their dog is going to be reacting in that situation. If we can get everyone thinking, being proactive, and then acting appropriately, then we can stop any bad behaviors before they actually occur. So that is me working with Scout in downtown Savannah with his anxiety in a high stress situation.